Exactly, right? All right, what is up, everybody? Sorry about the delay. Welcome to episode number 254. I'm here with JJ Donna, right?
JJ Donahue, yeah.
Donahue,
I got
okay.
a different name on Facebook, so
that's
people
why.
can't find me.
Okay, yeah. Brother, man. You ran the island. That's incredible.
Yeah, I ran the freaking island. I can say that now.
That's incredible because a lot of people, they bike the island, but nobody's that I know has ran the island.
Yeah, I don't think too many people have done it. I haven't. I was trying to look up news articles of people who had done it previously. I came across a guy there's a French guy. He ran at least part of the island in like a god suit, like a Taoist god. He wore like a blow up Taoist god suit. I think that guy had made the news. My girlfriend, she was like, yeah, there was a French guy, he did it. But anyway, I haven't come across too many people that have done it. There was this Japanese ultra runner, just ran it this past December though, 2023 I believe. Yeah, he ran it in like 17 days, which is gnarly.
That's crazy, brother.
7 days faster than I ran it.
Before we dive like right into that, I want to ask you, obviously you've been in Taiwan for a little while, right?
Yeah.
What was the original plan? What brought you to Taiwan? That's everybody's favorite question.
Yeah.
And it's always the clip that is like, ooh.
Yeah.
So what brought you to Taiwan originally?
So at the time I was living in Toronto.
Okay.
And didn't have too much of anything going on there that was productive or positive.
Yeah.
I had been there the previous 2 years and kind of just was doing a whole lot of nothing.
Okay.
And my dad, he's a high school teacher, and he was teaching in Malaysia.
Oh, okay.
And so he was like, why don't you come check it out and live with me for a couple months and see where your head's at and what you're thinking. And so a lot of teachers that my dad worked with, they had been ESL teachers before. Now they were all like licensed. This was at like an international school.
Yeah.
But some of them had previously worked ESL, and they were like, hey, why don't you try ESL? Like, get your English teaching certificate. There's always lots of jobs. And if you do go that way, if you get a job offer from Taiwan, take it.
Okay.
And so I did the certificate and then put my resume up. And just like people said, there's tons of like job offers from China and Korea, and there's one from Taiwan. And so I took that one job offer that I got.
So Dad was in Malaysia. So why didn't you just go to Malaysia?
I was there for 3 months, but there isn't so much of an ESL opportunity there. I volunteered for a couple months. I taught at a refugee center.
Okay.
There's a pretty heavy pretty big population of refugees from Myanmar, Burma. There's a pretty significant conflict going on.
Oh yeah.
In Myanmar, it's like a religious conflict, and so I taught refugees from Myanmar.
Okay.
I wouldn't say. I don't know if you could say I taught. Like I tried to put together something.
Gotcha.
I had never taught before, so. But this learning center needed anyone that they could get, any help that they could get. And so that was kind of my introduction to a teaching environment, and I really liked working with kids. And I thought this could be something that I could maybe do. So. I took the job offer that I eventually ended up getting from Taiwan.
Okay, and then from that to Taiwan, I love Taiwan. I've been here for a long time.
Yeah.
You've also been here for a while. So out of all the other countries you could have chosen, and why would you start with Taiwan? Because there's Korea, and then there's Japan, and maybe China or other countries where you could actually go and do the ESL thing.
Yeah.
What pulled you to Taiwan?
Part of it was the guy who recruited me. Mm-hmm. He was a Canadian guy as well from London, Ontario. That's where I went to university.
Gotcha, nice.
Good old London's fun city.
Nice. Yeah.
You ever been there?
I've not, man. And it's funny because my family's Mexican.
Okay.
Right? And so the domestic flights in Canada are so expensive, right? So for us to go Vancouver to Toronto or Vancouver to East Side is more expensive than Vancouver to Mexico to see, which is ridiculous.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
So because I have all my family. I mean, my parents are in Canada, brother, sister in Canada, but everybody else is in Mexico.
No kidding. That's awesome.
So we always would go back to Mexico. And
yeah,
I
I
would
mean-
love to go check out the east side, but it's always like, Niagara
I mean, I'd
Falls.
probably rather
or-
go to Mexico too. I mean,
well, that's
it's-
it. That's it. Probably cheaper Toronto to Mexico
Yeah.
than Toronto, Vancouver.
Yeah, I'd
Which is-
probably choose Mexico first.
Yeah, so that's what we did. Yeah, but I'm cutting you off here. So,
No, all good. What was I talking
okay.
about?
Talking about
why I came to
yeah,
Taiwan?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as I said, the people working with my dad, they said, "Hey, if you get something from Taiwan, that's in their experience, they said that's where you get the best quality of life
Okay.
as a teacher." And so, so I took that first job offer. There were job offers from China, South Korea as well.
Gotcha.
But then another thing that had to do, was a part of it, of why I came here, is the recruiter. He was from Canada,
Okay.
and he was very personable.
Okay.
A lot of the other job offers were through like a recruiting agency or through a company.
Okay.
Seemed super official. And here was another Canadian guy who's like showing me pictures of his family and
Okay.
things he did here in Taiwan. And I was like, it just felt better.
Yeah, I think that Taiwan is it's a good like first step, and you have to be careful because when you come here, you never leave.
Yeah.
I've interviewed a lot of people, and it's always like, hey, I was coming for 6 months, and now it's been 16 years.
Yeah.
And people are nice. I mean, right now it's a little hot, but
Extremely.
in Canada it gets pretty cold, so I'm okay with the heat now.
Yeah,
I'm good
I
with it.
prefer the heat.
Yeah, but what about learning the language? Was that anything that interested you? How's the Chinese?
So I've been here for 7 years, and it took me 7 years to finally take classes.
Okay.
So bad. I've put what's the word? An unimpressive effort into like learning through YouTube or
Okay.
something like that, and it's just not never consistent. So I finally started taking Chinese classes just a couple months ago.
Okay.
It was always a priority, like in conversation, but
Sure.
then in practice, I wasn't making it a priority as much as I should have been.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
I think it depends on your job. Like like we were talking about this area, Tianmu, right? A lot of people that I know have been here longer than me and speak like zero, right? And I think when I taught English, just only English, I also coached soccer, but when I was just doing kindergarten, first they don't want you to speak Chinese, right?
Yeah.
So you speak English all the time, and you get a pretty good gig.
Yeah.
And you don't have to learn it. The English level here is decent enough to where you can kind of speak it, and people will kind of know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So it's
Or
pretty.
they'll call their like aunt and uncle who speaks English.
Yeah.
If they don't, they're like they'll find a way.
So
to
there's
be
a way.
helpful.
Yeah. So I think that to learn it, you have to be in an environment where, like, you go to like a small town in like central Taiwan, and you're the only foreigner in the town. Then you're gonna learn it in like 6 months.
Yeah.
But if you're kind of like,
It's funny
living
because-
the life, then it's different because, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I lived in a small town in central Taiwan for the first 6 years
Shit.
that I was here.
Okay, well, okay.
But
yeah.
I
Well,
was
you weren't
working
the
full
only
time
foreigner.
at like an English immersion school. So,
Okay.
and then a lot of my free time, I didn't put towards learning Chinese, which I should have put. It's so easy to say, like, if I just put 5 minutes a day by now,
Yeah.
I'd have a decent foundation at least.
Yeah.
Well,
Let me just
10 minutes a
remove
day.
my foot from my mouth on that one. But
No.
like seriously though, I think that for me, mine is well, I've been here a long time, but it's been decent for a while. But that's because I've worked in a night market.
Yeah,
True.
true.
Like I when I taught only English, I didn't. I mean, I
Yeah.
spoke very minimal, and then with the restaurant, I tried to. In the night, from the night market till now, it's been like 16, 17 years, and I've tried to make sure everyone's having a good time, and try to give a bit of an experience in the restaurant, or even when we have the stand, try to talk to everybody, even though I grew up like a super, super introverted person, very, very, very quiet. But I thought, fuck, if I don't talk, I'm not going to have any money to eat,
you got it.
So you get really pushed into doing it. And so it becomes, yeah, second nature. Like, for example, here, I will speak, like the guy here at the bar here is actually Canadian as well.
Yeah.
And like for him, like I'll speak English with him, and then I will speak Spanish to another table because
Sweet.
my family's Mexican.
Yeah. So you
and
speak,
then
Spanish
I do
fluently?
speak Spanish fluently.
Nice, man.
Yeah, it's rusty living here for 20 years.
Yeah.
But then I will speak Chinese to people because I really try to
Make everyone feel
just try to
welcome.
talk to everybody.
Yeah, that's what's
And
up.
some people they don't want to talk to you, and that's okay. But yeah, it's usually foreigners.
Really?
The Taiwanese, they're usually pretty. They're happy to practice their English, right? It's you get kind of weird people once in a while, but more often than not, everybody's pretty
friendly.
happy to talk. Yeah.
That's
and then
cool that you make the rounds and chat.
I try to, and I mean, sometimes people look at you like, I don't want to talk to you. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I
all
mean,
right.
if it happened to me, I would welcome it. At first, I would probably wonder what's going on because I don't think it's happened to me so many times in Taiwan, at least. But I mean, it's just someone being friendly, and like, I imagine people are aware that you're the owner too. So like you're coming and chatting. That's cool.
I try to. I always, when this topic comes up, when I was in college in Nanaimo, Vancouver Island, I took my girlfriend at the time to this Italian restaurant, and it was like a super fancy restaurant. It was a special occasion. We were just like, tank top and shorts, and we went in, and it was like a fine dine, right? And we're like, oh shoot, and so it was like 6 tables. But at the end, when all the tables had their food, the owner came out, and he's like, I swear, it looked like Chef Boyardee, right? Like this dude came out, like a big Italian guy with the hat, Chef comes out and he's talking, and he had this little stool, and he sat down at every table.
He brought his stool.
Yeah, he had this little stool, and he sat down at every table,
That's
right?
awesome.
And I thought, well, that's really cool. And I thought, don't be pissed when he doesn't sit with us because we're just college kids with no money.
Just pass
right?
that table.
He's just going to skip us, right? But he sat with us, talked to us for like 10 minutes, told us
awesome.
about how he hand makes his pastas and stuff like that. And I was like blown away. I thought if I ever have a business in my life, I want people to feel like I felt at that moment.
Yeah.
So I tried to bring
No
that.
kidding. So
try to
that's
bring
like,
that.
you remember that, and that
Yeah.
had that much of an impact on you.
Yeah, and I never had thought about a restaurant ever in my life. I just, you know the story about the restaurant. Just me and my wife were looking at doing something, but
That's
I thought,
so cool.
if I could do that, I'll try to make sure everybody's happy. Really,
Wow.
yeah.
God made a big impact on you.
It's crazy.
That's pretty
yeah.
awesome.
I love it, man. It's such a cool place, man.
Yeah, this is a cool place for sure.
Yeah, it was a long road to get here, but we're here now. So
Yeah, I'm stoked that you guys show the UFC.
yes,
I'm definitely gonna come through.
Come out. We're doing Sunday. This Sunday, what is it? 303, right?
Is it 303?
It was supposed to be Connor,
That
but he
card
pulled
keeps
out,
getting
right?
changed around, eh?
Yeah. It's still a decent card. I want to see MVP.
Is Michael Chandler still fighting?
He's not.
Oh,
He's
okay.
not. It's going to be Alex Pereira and Yuri Prohaska, which is a
that's
good fight.
pretty cool.
It's a good fight. And also Ian Gary.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and,
nice.
And Michael Venom Page. That'll be a good fight. Yeah, that's the fight I want to
nice.
see.
Who are you
So,
going for?
I like Michael Venom Page. I don't want him to just come to UFC and then lose, right? So I'd like to see him get
He
a
won
shot.
his
at
last
least.
one, though, right?
He won his last one.
pretty,
Yeah. Pretty easily.
What's the
I
word?
thought.
With
Handily.
authority, yeah.
Yeah. But
Nice.
anyways, man, let's talk a little bit about the Ultra.
Okay.
The Ultra. So what is, first of all, for people that don't know, Ultra running or Ultra marathon, where does that come from and what is that?
That's a good question. It's running for a long time.
Long time.
Longer than a marathon.
Yeah.
I think technically an ultra marathon is anything longer than a marathon. But like usually it'll start at like 50K.
Okay.
So you got 50K, 80K, 100K, and then you get up to 100 milers.
Okay.
People that the crazy people that end up in this world, I think, or in the ultra running world, do end up eventually, I think, at some point trying to go for a 100-miler.
Okay.
And then there's some pretty. It seems to like be gaining popularity.
Yeah.
Like there are some really well-known races like the UTMB,
Okay.
the Ultra Trail du Mont Blanc, I think it's called. That's a 100-miler. They also have a 100K. And then there's like a race called Badwater. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of that from
David
Goggins,
Goggins?
man.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't know me, son.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
Goggins.
exactly.
I love Goggins. Yeah. When I don't feel like working out, I put a little bit of Goggins on. And
Oh,
I'm
he's
just
a
like,
beast.
Get your little poopy pants on, boy. I was like, all right, let's go.
You can't hurt boat team too.
We're going to carry the boats.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who's going to carry the boat?
I love that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he actually, him alone motivated me to do some of the challenges that I've set for myself.
Awesome.
One in particular, I was planning to go and try and swim 10K, do a 10K swim.
Yep.
And I finished reading this chapter of Can't Hurt Me, and I was like, I'm doing 20. And I went and did 20.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it.
It was like the what if chapter at the near the end of the book. It's like you can say that you're going to do this, and people are going to be like, that's just not going to happen. And then but you can say, what if I can do it? And I was like, I'm going now.
Hell yeah.
And like the next weekend I went and hit a personal best in the pool.
That's great. I saw this. I can't remember which episode it was, but it was on Rogan where somebody, I think it was a comedian, he trained with Goggins for like a month or something, or a week, and they got up and they were in the States somewhere where it was freezing, like below zero, and they were going for a run. And they ran by this lake that was frozen, and then the guy, he's just kind of running by, and then he notices that Goggins stopped, right? And he looks back, and Goggins just like smashed a hole in it, and he's like, "Get in there!"
Oh my god!
It's just like, just get in the lake, and the guy's like, "What?
No,
I'm gonna friggin' die!" And then seconds later, Goggins is just in the lake.
He's in there.
It's so good, man. I love that.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
it's so crazy.
He's a beast.
I love it.
So ultra running, just running a long distance basically, and somehow it's people find it enjoyable. I find it enjoyable.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's basically ultra running, just running for a long time.
So, is it okay? Like, how about the joints? Are the joints, sore after that? I mean, you're still a pretty young guy, so I would imagine you're still pretty good. But I mean, what about the concrete or grass or?
Yeah. When I first got into running, I was really enjoying it, and I was hitting it too hard, and I got shin splints. So those put me out for 12 weeks, and for like a couple of years after that, I never ran on back-to-back days. Okay. And I just paid a lot closer attention to my weekly mileage. Like I wouldn't go from running 20 kilometers a week to running 80. Okay. Just build up more slowly. Okay. Too much too soon. Will mess you up. But in terms of my joints, I don't know if I've just got lucky. I'll knock on wood, but I kind of do like a little shuffle, like it's not like a boom, 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 and try and keep my stride as low impact as I can, it just has worked out basically.
And so, what kind of tips do you have for somebody who's maybe looking to start, ultra marathon running?
Well, I imagine that if they are going to get into ultra running, that they're already into running, right? So that takes a lot out of the way. And then I guess if they would have concerns or limitations, I think that ultra running basically is patience. It's just the epitome of patience, because it's not a super intense thing. I mean, unless you're Jim Wamsley or some of these guys who are running like really quick pace and for a long time. Okay. For me, at least, like when I think of ultra running, I think of like completing a long distance. And when you're just going for distance, you just have to be patient. And that's the main thing. Just be patient. You can't get like in your head and so just find that sweet spot where you're not worried too much about how much longer you have left or this or that. You just find your sweet spot and coast basically.
How do you prepare, like physically and mentally? Because obviously, to run the whole island of Taiwan, I mean, you didn't just wake up off the couch and run the island. I mean, I wouldn't think. But, so how did you prepare for that?
I don't think I did prepare long enough. I only gave myself 11 weeks, which was not enough.
Not enough. Okay.
But I mean, I had run a 100K before, so I had some decent miles under my belt, but like dedicated training, I probably could have stretched it maybe 4 or 5 more weeks. Okay. But how did I prepare? Basically, I had in my mind a number of miles that I needed to get to for myself to give myself a chance of running a marathon every day. So that number for me with the time that I had was to try and get to a 200 kilometer week of running. And so I think I started at like 40 in January, and then just each week I hiked it up a bit. So it'd be like 40, 50, 60, I got to 80, 100, and then I went, I think, 130, 145, 170, and then 200. So I hit that, and the next week, I think, I set off on the run. I was like, I took 5 days rest after completing the 200 kilometer week. And then on the Friday, I believe, Friday like the 5th of April, I think, I set off. And from that point on, I was running an average of like 45 kilometers a day.
Is there a big community of ultra runners in Taiwan? I don't know anyone else that's done what you're doing.
There are, the race community is actually pretty amazing. Like, there are lots of races held.
I know,
throughout Taiwan. Like, every weekend, if you wanted to compete in an official marathon, you could easily find a race around the island every weekend. Saturday and Sunday. If you wanted to. But so there are lots of races that are held. In terms of the community, I think, like, I don't know, I'm one of those weirdos. I don't need to like have my run changed up. I just run laps. So when I go to the track is often pretty busy with other people running. Run around the park, that's often pretty busy with other people running. There are a couple beasts too. Like, actually, I had a friend, Anya. Her Chinese name is Wenya, or Tsai Wenya. And she has the world record. She holds a world record for completing this race. It's a 3,100 mile race.
Holy crap.
And she holds the female world record for completing it in the shortest amount of time. It's like 44 days. I think she ran 106 kilometers every day for 44 days.
Wow.
It's insane.
That's insane.
Insane. Yeah. They run around this block.
Where is
park
it? It's
in New York City.
Taiwan. Okay, New York City.
Yeah. So she's from Taichung, and
that's crazy.
There's a community of people who are at her level, or like they attempt crazy things like her as well.
That's crazy.
They got some 24-hour races here in Taipei. I think at least a couple. You can sign up for a 24-hour race or 48 hours, and the goal is to just run as much as you can in 24 or 48 hours. I remember Anya, she ran 350 kilometers in 48 hours. So it's like I don't even know in miles. 60, a lot. It's a lot. She ran over 180 miles, over 200 miles, I think.
Okay. Well, I'm Canadian, so I don't think in miles. Anyway.
I don't know why I want to switch it to miles.
No, that's okay. We got a couple comments from Rushi. Hey, long time no see. Looking good, Rushi. Appreciate it. Audio is looking good. Lucas Greger, what's up, brother? Thanks for checking it out. I think what's more for you, what is more difficult, the physical or the mental aspect of ultra running?
I think that like the mental side kind of adjusts and like things. So if you were to say to me right now, like to run from the north of Taiwan to the south of Taiwan in 5 days, that would be something where mentally I'm not there yet. Okay. So they kind of both strengthen at the same time. Okay. I think so. Like, you get stronger physically, and then you believe that you can do more, kind of thing, right? Okay. And, sure. Yeah. But one thing that's kind of cool is now I've done something that was like way, way, way bigger than anything I would have ever thought I could do, which
Okay.
is run around the island. I mean, even when I set out, I didn't think that I was gonna.
Okay.
A big part of me, at least, didn't think that I would make it. And so now
That's very
is
mental.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that, it's mental. It's like, okay, I believe that's possible, and if that's possible, then something above that is also possible. You know?
It's crazy, man. Maybe walk us through. So you're living in Yonghe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So did you just from there go up to Hualien, or did you just start going south? Walk us through the trip a little bit.
Yeah, so the plan kind of kept getting adjusted as I got closer and closer to the date, and thought about like the practicalities of it.
Yep.
So what I ended up doing was I just left my house in Yonghe. My plan was to start at the northern tip, but I would have doubled over a section from the northern tip because I would have had to come home anyway.
Yeah.
So I decided to just start from home, and then I ran south to Taoyuan on the first day.
Okay.
I think Yangmei. So from home to Yangmei, that was a marathon, about 44 kilometers.
Okay.
And then the next day, I took a train to Yangmei. So for the first 3 days, I think I stayed at home for the first 2 or 3 nights, and would run to where I stopped the previous day, and then take the next section.
Okay.
So what in total, what it was running from home down the west coast. After that third day, I would stay at like a hotel around 45 kilometers south of the previous nights.
Okay.
And went to the southern tip, and then around up the east coast to the northern tip, and then home. It was crazy. It was crazy. The moment that I got home, I was like I was home 24 days ago, and how I got here was all on foot, and it was a special moment for sure.
What was the feeling when you got home, when you thought, oh my God, I'm in Yonghe, I'm on my street.
Yeah, like
there's my apartment. Like,
that was where it all hit me, and I had I had a pretty emotional couple minutes where I was like, wow, like I did it.
Freaking did it.
I freaking did it. I was, it was emotional. I was stoked.
That's so cool, man. I love that. Let's pull up a couple pictures here, man. We were mentioning Hualien.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So this was crossing into from making it out of Taidong and into Hualien.
Okay.
So I was stoked. It was a sign that I was making progress.
Yes. I don't think I have them all in order, but I wanted to pull this one up.
Yeah.
Because you did this barefoot.
Yeah, that was my
That's
first
crazy.
barefoot marathon.
Yeah.
I read this book called Born to Run.
Okay.
About 7 years ago, when I was just getting into running, and they talk about this, like barefoot running, and I was very intrigued. I was like, what? This is a thing? And then actually, when I ended up running my first marathon, my first ever marathon, so I had shoes on that time, obviously, this old man passed me. He passed me barefoot, and he was running the full marathon too, and I was blown away. And so I wanted to, I had run a few marathons at that point, and I was like, I guess I wanted to give myself another level of a challenge, so I started training barefoot, and eventually built the miles up enough where I could try and run the whole thing barefoot.
That's wow, man. That's incredible. I didn't even know that barefoot was a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy thing. But
I would think you
it.
hurt your foot, but I guess you can. Like,
you just got to build super slowly. Like I started with 1 lap at the track.
Okay.
And for a long time, like if I were to go from 400 meters to 2 kilometers, my feet would be raw. So you have to go from like 400 meters to like 800 meters, and that's it. You have to stop. Like obviously your joints are capable of more, but your feet, skin has to,
because they're in
time.
socks and shoes all day.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Your skin takes time to adjust and get used to it.
That's crazy.
But eventually, it's just like a baseball glove. Like your feet don't break up at all.
Wow, it's like Lord of the Rings, right? Awesome.
This was my first Ironman in Taidong a few years ago. I went through like a sort of like an insanity phase where I just had endless energy. Apparently, I don't know. Yeah, I couldn't do what I was doing back then. I don't think, energy-wise, because this was just a few months before I ran the barefoot marathon.
Okay.
So this was a first Ironman in Taidong, and I felt like I was never gonna do one again after that.
Okay.
It was so much training. I think I finally have. It's been long enough that I'm thinking about signing up for another one.
Nice.
Yeah, my second one.
Let's do all the pictures, right?
Okay,
Since
cool.
we're doing the pictures.
So when I was doing the run, I crossed a lot of bridges on the West Coast, and some of the bridges were very sketchy.
I can imagine.
They didn't
Yeah,
have bike
yeah.
path or sidewalk,
Oof.
and there was one in particular where I ran over that bridge, and after that I was like, I'm never gonna run over a bridge again. I ran against traffic because I thought it would be, for me, I would much rather see what's coming at me than
Yeah,
not
of
know.
course. Because then you can at least move.
Yeah,
right?
it's like if someone
Somebody's
is, you
clipping
can
you.
see if
Yeah.
someone's like not paying
I
attention.
agree.
Or if they're,
Yeah.
so, but this bridge had semis going like 80 kilometers an hour, and there was nothing. So I was like, literally, I was like a foot from semis, and I was like, I can't. If I come up to another bridge that looks like that, I'm gonna hitchhike across.
Yeah.
And so I came to this bridge, and this family was out like sightseeing and taking pictures. And I asked them if I could grab a ride across, and they hooked it up. They
This
gave me some
family.
water. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
man.
they were really excited about
Taiwan-
like what I was doing. Yeah.
Everybody's so nice, right?
Yeah,
they're just
they're
like,
so-
jump right
so
in.
friendly.
Did you eat? Let's eat. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
they did. I remember they asked me if I had eaten. At the time, it was like a Matsu celebration,
Ah.
and it was in that area. They
Okay.
do like a pilgrimage. It's like a 145-kilometer pilgrimage.
Okay.
Where people walk from Taichung to Yunlin, and then they go back. And all along the way, they offer free food or free meals for people who are involved in the pilgrimage.
Oh, nice.
So they were like, make sure you get some free food.
Good timing. Good timing. Yeah. We'll talk about the food in a sec, because I'm curious about how you sustained yourself doing that. But let's go through the pictures first.
This was one of my hosts in Jai, I believe, and she was just so nice. It's kind of like
This was like a B&B or
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, you've been here a long time, so you
Yeah.
know that Taiwanese people are very friendly.
Super,
And she
yeah.
was like the epitome of that. But and then even like kind of went even further with it. She basically like acted like my mom for the night. She took my clothes, she washed them,
Nice.
hung them, and she like gave me some barbecued corn and cooked me some homemade soup. I was just like, this lady's amazing. So yeah, she was so sweet. So I asked her to sign my flag. When I remember to, I would ask people who I met along the way to sign my flag. And so I got her to sign my flag, and then we took a picture with it.
That's the flag. Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering about those signatures. Okay. Boom.
Boom. Southern tip
Yeah.
on the right side, and then northern tip on the left.
Oh, wow.
So milestones of the run, I guess, especially the northern tip. I think that was the second last day. So that was pretty emotional seeing the northern tip too. I was like, I got one more day, and that's it.
That's crazy, man. That's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Southern tip still had a long way to go, but
Yeah.
I was excited either way.
That's the big like lighthouse thing, right? At the
Yeah,
bottom?
Iluan B.
And like Kending, sort of. or
Yeah,
no?
exactly. It's right on the southern tip, and from there you can. There's an official southern tip, like a small monument that's
Oh.
about 10-minute walk.
Oh,
from
really?
there.
Nice, nice. I got two more pictures here.
Oh yeah, so this is just like some outdoor adventure stuff. I've been trying to get outdoors. Like time in Taiwan's amazing for getting outdoors. So
Yeah.
back when I was in that small town in central Taiwan,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
learning Chinese,
Shoot.
I got my
okay.
first car. Got a little old Nissan Verita.
Beauty.
It was actually such a sweet car.
Nice.
I love that car, but I didn't have any friends, so I would use Follow Xiaofei's website.
Okay.
It was still called Follow Xiaofei at the time, and I would just like look up a different waterfall every weekend and just go out and explore. And then this guy, there's a guy named Bill, an American guy,
Okay.
and he is a herper.
Okay.
You know that?
I
what that
don't,
is?
man. I don't know what that is.
It's people who go out and look for reptiles, particularly snakes, I think. But they're interested in like all kind of like reptile life.
They're just kind of like
Herpetology,
reptile?
I think, is I think herpetology is like the science of reptiles. Anyway, they call themselves
Okay.
herpers, I think, and they go out and find these snakes. And
And
so
then they
we
just
just
kind
went
of
out.
check them out and take pictures and
exactly.
stuff. Really?
I mean, if they're non-poisonous, they'll handle them and stuff.
Wow.
I have a fear / fascination with snakes. So
That's crazy, man. I had to go through. We got one more picture. I had to go through. Just throw them there. It's all good, man.
Cool,
and
thank you.
and I had to go through the Facebook and I pull up an old one just to see, just to surprise you a little bit here.
no.
Hopefully, bam.
Oh, nice.
That's a cool
not-
picture, dude.
Because I'm pretty sure I have some embarrassing.
No,
photos
I wouldn't
on
do that.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. All good.
That was summer course. I was in the Army Reserves
Yeah,
for
that's
6
cool.
years back in Canada.
In Canada, I saw
Yeah.
the flag on. I actually thought everyone assumes everyone's American,
Yeah.
right? Because in Taiwan, it's all. But, and
Yeah,
then I
we're on
saw
the
the
same
flag.
team,
I thought,
man.
whoa, okay.
Yeah.
So
So
tell
I was in
tell me about that.
the Army Reserves for 6 years. Growing up, I didn't really know anything about the military at all. But then my dad, who's a high school teacher, got a job teaching at an international school in the Netherlands.
Oh,
So
wow.
when I was 11, we moved to the Netherlands. And basically, like Western Europe, they still have a lot of schools, military bases.
Okay.
So there are still many U.S. Armed Forces, Canadian Armed Forces
Really?
based in Western Europe. And so when they have families, their kids, if they're Canadian, for example, they want their kids to get an Ontario secondary school diploma, but they're living in the Netherlands, so they bring Canadian teachers over to teach their kids at these
Okay.
schools.
Wow.
So that's what my dad was doing, and I started to learn more about what the military is. And we were basically in the military community for 10 years, and I was like, this is cool. Like they get paid to learn, they get paid to travel, and it seemed like a good gig. So for a while, my plan was to go military full time,
Okay.
and that didn't work out exactly as planned. So I joined the military, the Army Reserves
Okay.
in London, Ontario,
Okay.
where I was going to university, and yeah, it was pretty sweet. We got to do some cool stuff, shoot machine guns and throw hand grenades. And I was a vehicle technician. I chose to be a vehicle technician because I am so bad with cars, and I wanted to
Yeah.
learn how to work on cars.
That's
And
crazy.
So, yeah,
Because
so
now
you
if a
get
car
paid to
breaks
learn.
down, you
No, I'm still so bad. Still so bad.
That's funny.
But it was a fun 6 years.
I was gonna say now I know who to call. I don't have a car
wish.
still.
I
Yeah.
wish.
That's funny. I've been here for a long time. I don't have a car because in Taipei
Yeah,
you
in
don't really need
Taipei,
one. You don't need one, right?
no.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm like in my 40s, right? And I've never owned a car because I came here when I was like
Wow.
23, and
kidding.
I just came to Taipei.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess
and
you were in
mean,
Taipei the whole time.
Yeah, Taipei. Yeah, it's crazy, man. And I also didn't
Yeah.
learn much Chinese the first few years, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
don't worry about that too much.
It's getting to the
Yeah.
point where it's
Yeah.
taking me shamefully. Like it's getting to the point where it's shameful now. I need to put a little bit more of an effort.
It's
If you're
tough.
if you're 2-3 years and you don't know any yet, then I
Yeah.
think that's acceptable. But beyond 5, 6, you should maybe start.
It's not an easy language, man.
No.
That's the thing.
Oh
And the
my
thing is,
goodness.
when you go outside, it's like if you want to learn like Spanish or something or Italian or whatever, you go outside and there's
read.
actually letters, right,
Yeah,
to
there's
look
letters,
at.
yeah.
Like here, there's no letters.
There's no-
It's just like
yeah.
little symbols that look cool. And I've been here for 20 years, more now, and I'm still
With the-
illiterate,
with the
pretty much.
characters, yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
the
it's weird
characters
to
are a
get
whole
used to
nother
it.
level.
And they look cool, but you feel like I can read probably 100
Yeah.
out of 5,000 or 50,000 or whatever the hell it is. So
That's
you get used to it.
97 more than me.
but you get used to being illiterate, which is also a weird feeling.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah,
Actually,
it's
you go back
crazy.
to Canada, you're like, I can read the signs.
I can read. What's going on? This is odd. Yeah. So during your trip, what kind of a diet are you doing? Are you doing like granola bars? Are you how are you eating?
I was actually throughout my run, I was tagging 7-Eleven. I was like, these guys need to sponsor me because I was eating a full-blown 7-Eleven diet for everything.
But would you not get cramped up after you pigged out at 7 and then started going, or how would that work?
I don't, I feel like my body should have, but
Okay. But it didn't.
I would eat and then just sort of. I think that my body was like, all right, he's gonna start running after he eats. 5 minutes after he eats, all right, we're gonna have to figure this out. And my body
Okay.
just started
Adjusting.
Yeah. So I would not eat heavy, but I would eat I had a couple of lunches. I'd have 8 dumplings, and then I'd still have like 30
Okay.
kilometers to run.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
it
'cause
would be okay.
You can't eat 30 and then be like, okay, now I'm running for
No.
half a day. Yeah,
Funny
yeah.
story though.
Yeah.
One night I was in near the southeastern tip, or I was on the southeast, which is like, if any of all of Taiwan, I would say that is the most dead zone in Taiwan. Like the
Southern,
most
okay.
undeveloped.
Okay.
It was like there's
It's like
nothing.
jungle,
For
or-
like 60 kilometers, there were no 7-Elevens. And you
Okay.
know how many 7-Elevens
Oh,
there are in
shoot.
Taiwan. So for there to be no
Yeah.
7-Elevens for
That's
60,
crazy.
it was very dead. And the place that there's nothing near where I was staying that night. It was like a camp spot. And I had a cabin, which was nice for to get some AC and sleep well, but there was also no food. So they only had dumplings. And I was like, look, like I really need to refuel. I would always eat a lot of calories in the evening after the run.
I would imagine
Try
so.
and refuel and get my protein in and carbs and just as much as calories as I could, basically. And I was like, I need a lot of food. And she was like, we have dumplings. I was like, all right, well, I need a lot of dumplings. Like,
Yeah.
how many dumplings you got?
Yeah.
And I was like, can I have 40?
Yeah, yeah. You're like,
And she
what?
was like, all right, yeah, we have 40. I don't think that she thought I was being serious about like wanting 40, so she gave me 30. I think she gave me 30,
Okay.
but I crushed those 30 dumplings. But that was after a day. Midday would not be able to do that.
Wow. Wow. What about you're saying that was kind of one of the underdeveloped, sort of dead sort of areas in Taiwan. Is there a particular area that you were running that you can think of right now you're running through and thinking like, holy crap, this is beautiful, or this is something unique?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that area was very beautiful.
Okay.
It was right along the coast. It's all just like, lush green hills, and then the
Okay.
coast right there. You know, when you get to the East Coast, it gets like just a little bit more crisp, a little bit more clear. The water is like a light pastel blue.
Okay.
So that part was beautiful. Qilong was very beautiful. That was my first time visiting
Okay.
Qilong. And I was like, there were some spots. That was one spot in particular where I was like, I need to come back here. The whole East Coast was beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And any places where you're thinking like, okay, we need some work on this one. Like I remember my first year in Taiwan, we went on a hike or something, and there was this river, and the river was just like full of, like you see in the YouTube videos, and the videos are the river's just full of like trash.
Oh, no.
This was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I was shocked. Was there any places where you thought like, holy, what is this?
No,
Not really.
Not really. But I mean, just like uninspired, like some uninspiring places along
Sure.
like the West Coast.
Yeah.
Like you're going through like factory land and.
Okay.
Or just like simple like rice fields. But I mean,
Okay.
the rice fields are pretty, but after a while, they get kind of
Yeah.
monotonous.
Is there a part of your journey that you can pick out as this was the most difficult leg of my journey? Or was it all pretty smooth?
That night that I arrived at that camp where I wanted 40 dumplings,
Yeah, 40 dumpling camp.
that southeastern part, that was pretty tough. Not so many 7-Elevens. Those 7-Elevens kept me alive, honestly. And so
all dumplings, or were you doing the fan tuan?
What would I do? I would get a gel, the blue gels.
Oh, okay.
And then Pocari Sweat became the staple.
Gotcha.
Sometimes those sandwiches with jam and cream cheese.
Okay.
Something with like just simple carbs,
Okay, yeah, because you're blasting through the carbs,
Yeah,
right?
and sometimes when I'm really hungry, I would when I want food, I would get like a small sandwich or dumplings or something.
Okay. And you were running all day.
Yeah.
Like 10 hours, just
Yeah.
basically straight.
Yeah, I was
That's crazy.
The first couple days, I stuck to what I said I would do, and like wake up early to try and escape the sunlight or sunshine. But very quickly, my need for sleep to reclaimed the morning.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
And so I was usually on the road, like running by around 9:30 in the morning, and then I would be in usually by 6 p.m. or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you were just
pretty much
showered
running all
up,
day.
legs up, or
Yeah,
ice up, or
so I had everything with me. I had everything that I needed for the whole run. I had on me.
on a backpack.
Credit card,
Okay.
cash, and then one pair of underwear, one pair of shorts, one t-shirt.
Okay.
So I would get there, I would shower, change into the clothes that were in my backpack, and wash the ones that I wore.
Okay.
So I had to wash them and hang them because I'd be wearing them the
You
next
don't want
day.
to carry like 5 outfits, right?
No,
Because
yeah,
that's crazy.
as little weight as possible, you know?
Wow, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, so...
What about any kind of special equipment? I mean, did you have earbuds in or something?
I didn't
You
even
must
bring
have.
my earbuds
What?
because
Really?
I was like, I don't want to carry the weight.
Really?
Yeah, you know, I was so nervous because throughout my training...
Because you're on the highway, or
No, because I didn't want to carry it. It's just a case, but I didn't want to, those little things that in my mind they added up, and I was like, I don't want to carry it.
So you went the whole run with no music.
No music.
That's, wow. Okay.
I think I probably listened to music for like a total of 30 minutes one day when I was finishing the run. I think I was unable to let myself enjoy a lot of the days because I was just like, you got to get there in one piece.
Yeah.
And so,
in your goggins.
and then you still have to go tomorrow, and then you still have to go the next day. And so it wasn't like so, like, it was kind of more focused and less like fun. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Well, I figured. I mean, I remember Goggins told a story about breaking the world record of pull-ups, and he would have that Rocky song
on
over
loop?
and over for
Yeah.
17 hours or something. Like, that's crazy.
No.
I thought maybe you had something, and you were just no music.
No
That's
music, no
wow.
podcast,
Wow.
just in my head,
That's wow. Okay.
worried about making it.
Yeah. Wow. So there's other things like the Taipei 101 has like the run up. Is that something you would be interested in, or is that
That
just
would
a
be
different
cool.
thing?
Yeah, doing the run up would be cool. I'd like to run across Taiwan still. That's on my list of things to try. They a few years ago I signed up for a race. I didn't end up training enough for it, so I didn't actually go through. But they had a 2-day race from Taichung Port
Okay.
to Hualien across. And it's a monster of a run.
Okay.
I think it's 230 kilometers with like 5,000 meters of ascent.
Okay.
So that puts like some of the hardest races in the world. Basically, it's on par with those races.
Really?
So it's an epic run. And so,
And
I think I'd like to try and...
That happens
so,
a few times
so
a year or something? Or?
I think that the past couple of years it hasn't run. COVID and then earthquakes, things like this, you know? It makes it harder for those to happen. So that's, I was actually, after running around the island, I was the next goal was to try and run across.
Okay.
But that's just not looking so so realistic right now with the earthquakes and the landslides over in Bali. And so I mean, I'm just not super keen on being on very narrow mountain roads after the past few months, right?
Yeah. No, that was we were having like friggin' 10 earthquakes a day for a little
nuts.
while. Yeah.
It was just shaking all day.
It was like, is this the end of days? What's happening
honestly.
here? Like the movies where like, sinkholes. And you're just like, what is going on here, dude?
Taiwan is like, it's so beautiful, but man, it's like, it just seems to like always be crumbling. Like
it's always
there's
Hualien too, right? It's always like the north tips.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
are
there was
getting
just that big
crushed.
landslide in Qilong too. You see that?
I didn't see that. No, I didn't see that.
But yeah, there's that the Taipei 101 climb across.
Yeah.
I had it 6 years ago, maybe 6-7 years ago. I stand up paddleboarded from Dapeng Bay to Xiaoliuqiu. It was like a 15-kilometer sup. It was my first time supping too. I don't know why the hell. The girl that I was dating at the time, she liked sup, and she was like, "Would you like to do this thing? Like, it'll be fun." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, let's do it." It was actually pretty cool. I think I got sober, but I would like to one day, if it's possible, try and swim it maybe.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
That would be pretty epic.
Okay. Shoot, man. Oh man. Is there like, so I know you were doing like updates, like, because I was following you along on your trip, what was that like? Like, sort of, I saw some, it's raining or whatever, and obviously some days you were kind of like, hey, I'm happy, and some days you were like, well, it's got to be tough. How was it to keep doing these videos? Yeah,
well, I mean, you can hear it. You can hear in my voice that I'm really tired most of the time because I had just run the whole day. So, I felt that I needed to do that to document it, and so It was, yeah. I mean, that was like what I that was what I was capable of putting together.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's not like you're going to bring a production team with you,
No.
right? Yeah.
So the voiceover was a good way for me to do it, I think, because I just had to just take pictures throughout the day, take a moment, and try and enjoy, some of the moments throughout the day, and then just place them one by one and talk over it.
Yeah.
And if it went well on the first voiceover, then it could be done in like 30 minutes.
Okay.
So that was what I had the energy to do.
It's just amazing, dude.
And
Yeah.
try and keep some form of like documentation of it.
Do you feel that sort of this? It's almost like a spiritual. You're talking about the Mazu spiritual journey. Like yourself, it's almost like a spiritual journey to actually run the island. Do you feel it's changed you? Like,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
I think definitely it's a spirit. I would say it's a spiritual thing. Like it's like a believing in yourself thing,
Yeah.
And it's like a dreaming thing. Like this was a dream of mine, and it encourages me to continue to dream.
Okay.
So in that sense, definitely it's kind of a spiritual journey. Or how has it changed me? I would say that there's more of like a sort of a sense of belief, a
Okay.
deeper sense of belief maybe in myself after that. I would say maybe I'm a little bit calmer after.
Okay.
Yeah. Just a deeper sense of self-belief, I would say.
That's awesome, dude. The interview flew by, brother. That's been like 55 minutes or whatever.
Man. Yeah, that
Time
went
flies,
quick.
dude. It goes quick. Do you have anything that you want to say, before we call it?
Yeah, sure. So actually, I
Please.
just decided today. So tomorrow,
Okay.
I'll end up giving the money that we raised from the fundraiser to Eve.
Okay.
We raised like 100,000 NT, which is awesome. But GoFundMe took like 15%. So
Okay.
I'll end up giving 85K to Eve tomorrow, and I've decided what I'd like to do next. And so next month, July 28th, I think, I'm going to do an all-day swim.
Okay.
And this time I'll be trying to raise money for ACT. Have you heard of it?
No, I don't.
It's I think it's animal. I don't want to ruin what it stands for, but it's a dog.
It's the dog one. Yes, I know it. I know it.
It's a
I
dog
can
rescue
see the
organization
logo.
as well.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try and swim from open to close. About 5 years ago, I did this swim. I set it the goal distance as being 35 kilometers.
Okay.
Which is the length of the English Channel.
Okay.
So I was like, maybe one day, I don't know about if that's going to happen because I don't know if I can deal with the cold. But I said I'm going to try and swim the length.
Okay.
And my goal was to swim 35 kilometers, but I swam 34.1. So I'm going to try again on July 28th. And if anyone is interested in following along, hit me up on my social or add me on social.
Okay.
And I'll be doing that
I'll put a
swim.
link to that below, and then they can follow you on social and stuff.
Yeah, sweet. Thank you, man.
Just quickly, one more thing. Talk about the charity a little bit. We didn't really mention the charity part.
Yeah, so Eve's Dogs is a dog rescue organization that I worked with a little bit. My girlfriend and I, we fostered a dog for a few months, and fortunately or luckily, we found a home for her for Rita quite quickly. So it was only a few months that we fostered her. But yeah, it was a great experience working with Eve, and so I knew her. I knew that she's a good person, and that their organization needs help. So I mean, they always need help, right? These surgeries are not cheap for when a dog needs surgery or some veterinary care.
Okay.
So I was just like, oh, this is something local that I can try and help with, something that I have firsthand knowledge about or experience with the people that work or run it.
Okay.
And so that was the reason why I chose that organization.
Cool, man. Yeah. So now I'll ask you one more time. Do you have anything you want to say for anybody who's maybe followed you on your trip, or anybody who maybe is thinking, hey, I'd like to run Taiwan one day?
I mean, I would be so stoked to hear if someone else would like to try it too. And yeah, like shoot me a message, and I will help you, give you as much of help or my experience that I can, and do it. Definitely do it.
Okay, awesome. Brother, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching the show. We will put a link to your Instagram, I guess,
Okay, cool.
in the bottom. In the description when we get done with this. Yeah.
All right, sweet.
Thank you guys
so
for
much,
watching,
man.
and we'll see you next week. Yeah.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, man.
Thank you everybody for watching Eddie's show. We feel only happiness, don't feel any sorrow. Welcome everybody to watch more on his contact. Eddie Live Podcast. Eddie Live Podcast.